Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tell Me About Your Dog. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sam. I'm a licensed veterinary nurse here in the sunny state of Florida, a pet insurance advocate, and lover of all things senior pets. The goal of this podcast is plain and simple to tell me about your dog and what makes him so special. I do want to preface this episode contains frank talk of death, which may be sensitive for some listeners. Here in the studio with me today is a former colleague of mine, a dog mom, and generally one of the nicest humans I have ever met. We worked many long days and many late nights together during our hospital years. Brittany, welcome
Hello.
to Tell Me About Your Dog. Thanks for coming
Thanks for
on.
having me.
Let's start with a little bit about you.
Okay. I'm a Florida native, born and raised here. Grew up in between kind of St. Pete, Clearwater, Seminole area. So I've been there for 30, almost 34 years. However, I did leave 6 years ago to move to Colorado. So I've been back since October after the hurricanes, kind of helping out, working on the beaches and, change of scenery for the dog and everything.
How do you like Colorado?
Love it. It's so good. The weather is great, seasons. I think that is truly what kept my dog going and that the weather there and the altitude, she just thrives.
Aw, I
Yeah.
love that.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of your dog, you know what I'm going to say. Tell me about your dog,
Yeah.
starting with her name, her breed, and how they became a member of your family.
So Lucy is what we think is like a pitty hound mix. More a harrier hound is what we're thinking of, but she's just a mutt. She's a potato. She's roughly 16 years old. So 2017, working with you at the vet, someone brought Lucy in as a stray. She was running around the streets and they didn't want her to get hit by a car. So they brought her in. And to speed it up, she was there for a month. We tried endlessly to find an owner. We contacted shelters, other animal hospitals, anything we could to find the owner because obviously somebody had her, but she was very sick. She was urinating blood. She was severely overweight.
Severely. That's where
Severely
potato and
potato.
meatballs names started from.
Yep. And her nails were very overgrown. You could tell she was happy because she was well fed, but she was not the best care for. So we kept her there for about a month. All the doctors were just so great taking care of her and blood work, medicine. I mean, besides the UTI, blood work, she was great in the best case. One of the doctors estimated she was probably 6 to 8 years old. And, she stayed there. Nobody ever claimed her. And we were about to take her to Pet Pal, which is a no kill shelter. And obviously, one of our colleagues, her husband runs it. So we felt very safe. And after working, endless days with her, I just felt this bond. And I was like, who is going to want to adopt this big old potato out of a shelter right away when there's smaller, cute dogs? So I fell so much in love with her. At first, I asked my mom to rescue her, and then I decided, no, I'm going to take her in and take care of her. So took her home the morning of the day she was supposed to be transported there. I called our colleague and 5 a.m. and I said, "Don't take her. I'm coming in to get her. Like I want her." And that's where it all started. I mean, I've had her since.
And now she's your potato.
Yeah. And, to circle back to finding the owner, long story short, an owner did come forward about 2 months after, and it ended up being a very sad situation. It was a partnership. One of the men had passed away. The other man couldn't take care of her, so left the dog with the mother in law, who was uh, very elderly with dementia and was a hoarder in her home. So we found out that this dog had lived pretty much either in a trailer or this hoarder home for 8 years and ate everything that they ate, never had dog food, never had a dog toy, never went outside. And the fact that she made it that long eating what they ate really surprises me. But it ended up working out to where that mother was gonna be sent to a nursing home and, live out her life there. And she was signed over to me, even though she was legally mine, but I was able to claim her as mine fully after we found out her story. But we found out she was roughly about 8. So I've had her for 8 years. So 16 ish. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had quite the, turn of events in her life going from that situation to you, where
Mhm.
she is your child, she's your everything, you
She
guys are
is.
partners in crimes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the life changes you guys have been through together
Mhm.
because you, like you said earlier,
Yeah.
moved from Florida to Colorado,
Yep.
never been to the state before, just
Yep.
decided it was the place for you.
Yeah.
What was that transition like, and how did you and Lucy do it?
Yeah, so, it was a lot of life changes here in my late 20s, and I just wanted a fresh start, and I just woke up one day and I was like, "I'm gonna move to Colorado," and I think my dad was like, You're gonna visit, right?" And I was like, "No, I'm just gonna move." And, never been, didn't know anybody, and I was like, "Why not? I can always come home. I can always come back here, and I need something new," and Lucy had just had, one of her knee surgeries done, had TPLO surgery done. So we were, recovering from that. So we were prepping for the trip. 2 months before the trip, she tore the other one. So we had that
Gosh, I
surgery.
remember that.
Yeah, we had that surgery done. So that was
Oh,
exciting to look forward to. Um, and, just I rented a place online, sight unseen, and put everything in storage, packed up what I could, sent a pod out there, and Lucy and I packed up in the car. My dad ended up riding with us, and we did a cross country trip and stopped. To date, Lucy and I have done 21 states together over the last 8 years. And it was so cool to, she was still recovering from surgery, so we took it easy, but just to get her out in new places, new smells, new sights, things she's never seen before. And, those surgeries were big on her, but within 6 months, she went from 86 pounds to 59 pounds, and we
wow.
lost so much weight with her, and she just was a whole 'nother dog. It was like a brand new life for her and I together. Um, I was going through a breakup at that time, so I was kind of in a depressed state, and she was just my support during that. I could lean on her for everything. I'm an only child, so she was my better half right there, like my
Oh.
my, you know, confidant, and I could cry to her and talk to her, and she's probably like, "Wow, this lady's crazy right now," but she was my helper through all that in the move, so.
Yeah, and she has provided you so much emotional support through a lot of big life changes.
Mhm,
And I want to talk a little bit about new diagnosis in pets.
mhm.
Obviously, it's hard when you go through a new diagnosis. You have a new problem, you get a new diagnosis, and it's a big life change. Let's talk about some of the medical issues that Lucy
Yeah,
has and
uh
how you navigated some of the new diagnosis.
yeah. So old and new, obviously Lucy's had both her TPLO surgeries on her knees done. When we found her, she had Dr. Bonacera said that her UTI was one of the worst she's ever seen in her years of practicing. And it ended up being we were having about 2 to 3 UTIs a month. And the amount of cultures and testing we did to figure out what she had, found out there was no medication that would help with what she had. So we were trying all different ones just to see if it would help at all. We ended up doing a vulvoplasty on her, and knock on wood, that was July of 2020, and she's never had a UTI since, which has been great. She was diagnosed a little after that with kidney disease, and we started her on medication. After that, some liver issues, so we started her medicine on that. The typical hip dysplasia and joint issues, which she's on all her glucosamine and fish oils, all the supplements, and then recently we've done ultrasounds and blood work, and the most recent blood work showed some anemia in her, which we thought was odd because she's never had that. So, which led us to do a in-house ultrasound, which led to finding a mass on her spleen, which hit hard because one of my childhood dogs, before I got into the vet field, tragically and quickly passed from a ruptured splenic mass. And so that instantly just brought back that fear of losing her in such a traumatic way. But as of today, I took her this morning for a PCV test, and levels went up from 32 to 42. And
That's great.
she's been on her Chinese herbs, and she's on 10 different supplements and pills a day, 18 of them to be exact. So it's a process, but keeping her happy, healthy, comfortable till the end is all I could ask for with her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And how's her spirit been?
She's I there's not even like a word to describe her. She is so persistent in life. Like it was like the first 8 years weren't the best for her, and these last 8 years I've had with her, just it's like a whole new life she was given, and she is just so happy and grateful and wants a treat every time you walk
Mhm.
by anything in the kitchen. She thinks she needs some of it because she's so happy and hungry all the time, and that's one thing with her I know is until the end, she's gonna be hungry, so but she's in good spirits, and I'm excited, being back in the mountains soon and her swimming and camping. She's gonna love it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. And you talk a lot about your family, everyone being such a big dog
Mhm.
lover. Do your parents have a bond with Lucy?
Yeah, so my parents, knew from a young age I wasn't going to have kids. I knew that from a young age, and I don't think they believed me until college and after college, but they kind of accepted that they were only gonna have dog grandchildren, and so it's still to the on Mother's Day, I get a card from my parents, for Lucy, or, Christmas and Lucy's birthday, I get gifts in the mail for her. So it's like this cute little bond that my parents have always had with her. My stepmom too, she's a big Lucy fan. So I'm very grateful that, they've accepted that part is they're always going to have dogs in their life to take care of. So it's been great.
That's great.
Hmm.
And there is a little bit of a stigma around, oh, dog moms, dogs aren't children, but
Hmm.
Lucy really is.
Yeah.
She's
And
your child.
I understand completely. I mean, I am an only child, but I have best friends that I've grown up with, and their kids are just like my nieces and nephews. And I give credit to parents 100%. I mean, that's a whole nother topic of
Mhm.
raising children. And dogs, yes, they are animals, but I mean, financially, she is a lot. Especially now, I have to take care of her morning, lunch, and dinner with medicines, and it's hard to leave her, and you have to plan things around her, and that's okay because I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right. Just like
Hmm.
any parent would for their own
Hmm.
child.
Yeah, just in a different way, but we're still dog moms. So
Yes, of
yeah.
course. And you give Lucy just the best life.
She deserves it though.
She
So
does. She
yeah.
does. She's been through a lot. You
Mhm.
guys have both been through a lot of changes. You've gone through some really hard times.
Mhm.
Um, what else has Lucy been there for you
Yeah,
through?
so I mean, anything, whether it's, any ups and downs in life. So it could be something as small as I just, I have a bout of depression. I miss my family when I'm out in Colorado or my friends out here in Florida. And she's just kind of that comfort to me.
Mhm.
Um, any relationship ups and downs I've had, she's been there for me. And most recently, 6 weeks ago, my mother passed away, and
I'm so
that
sorry.
was a very hard, unexpected, tragic loss that I endured. Wasn't ready for it, wasn't expecting it. And I was actually getting ready to go back to Colorado when it happened. And it just, a loss like that, nobody prepares you for. And it really was the hardest pain I've ever been through. And I don't know how I would have done it without Lucy, because I came home from the hospital that day and couldn't talk to anybody, and all I did was just lay with her in bed and feel everything and cry, and just for her being there, it's like she knew. She was licking me and she snuggled into me, and I mean, I couldn't move an inch without her waking up and staring at me. So she's just really been my biggest support, and my mom loved her, and she truly loved my mom a lot, and it was just, you know, her being there was the best for me. 2 weeks after my mom passed is when we found out about her mass. So it was like another hit to my soul was losing my mom, and now the Lucy's obviously older, it's inevitable, but
Right.
just having that realism of, okay, now she has a mass, are we going to lose her soon, or do I have some more time with her, because I'm not ready to go through another heartbreak. And luckily I think my mom's watching over me and watching over Lucy, and it's going to help her hang in there. And I know when the time comes, my mom will take care of her up there.
Yeah.
So
Aw.
Yeah.
And your mom was such a huge dog lover.
Oh my
I know she
gosh.
had so many dogs over her years too. Talk a little
She
bit about her dogs and how her bond was like with hers.
Yeah, so my first dog was my first birthday. It was a Shih Tzu, I believe, and, that was my mom got him for me, and then as I got older, we would always take these trips to the Pinellas County Animal Shelter to, like, donate toys or treats or just back then, I don't know if you still can, but you used to be able to just go in the cage and, like, play with them, and so we would do that. That was like a weekend thing that we would do when I was with her, and more often than not, we would take home a pet because why not? We have room. It's just my mom and I. And she could never say no to a dog. We always had multiple dogs. We had dogs that were in the newspaper that said, free to good home that we would just go grab because we wanted them to have a
Right.
better home. We found one dog that was essentially dying at this person's house because it was so malnourished. It was being treated, it was tied up outside. He was a big shepherd. Um, and we brought him home, took him to the vet, and he had cancer. And they said it was very aggressive and it probably wouldn't last long, but we knew we were going to give him that best month. And we did. And we spoiled him and fed him all the good stuff. And he slept with me every night that I was there. And the one day I left to go to my dad's for the weekend and like I hugged him goodbye. And I guess right after I left, he curled up with my mom on the couch and he passed away. And
Oh.
it was just, we've always had all these dogs that we take in. And when I started working at the vet, it was like, Mom, we have another dog. And, we brought Rocky home and my mom had 3 dogs at one point by herself. And I was like, I'll help you, what I can. Um,
And she did anything for those dogs.
Everything.
Anything and everything.
She loved her dogs. They were her world, her gardens and her dogs. That's all she cared about. And she was in Idaho, taking care of her father until his end. And she had Rocky with her, and she ended up finding a rescue from California that got moved out to Idaho after the fires, a little husky mix, Tia. And my mom fell in love with her and took her. And that was so good for Rocky and good for my mom, and when Rocky passed shortly after, she had Tia, and Tia was just my mom's best friend and loved that dog so much. Always, always talked about her.
Oh.
Even the last week, she was here every day was just, "Make sure Tia gets this. Make sure you give her a treat after she goes potty. Make sure this." Like,
She was so
she
set on
loved
making
her
sure
dogs.
the
Yes.
dogs were taken care
Yes,
of.
dogs over
Dogs
everything,
over
so
everything.
she started me on my dog love trend for sure.
Aw.
Yeah.
It's amazing how dogs who don't speak our language,
Yeah.
don't understand a word we're saying,
Mhm.
yet they have this sense of when something is wrong, when we need extra consoling,
Mhm.
when we need someone to be there for them, they just turn into this ball of support.
Yeah,
It's
they do.
And then in return, we provide them with such a great life,
Mhm.
and they're so grateful. They are the
Yeah,
most selfless, most trustworthy animals. They are forgiving for people who do bad things.
we don't
Lucy,
deserve them.
we don't deserve them. We don't
They're the
deserve dogs.
best.
We're so lucky to have them. They are
Yeah.
walking angels.
Mhm.
And I love all the stories about your mom helping so many dogs over the years
Yeah.
because I know as soon as she passed,
Mhm.
all of them were probably waiting for her
Oh,
and
they
welcoming
were
her
all
back and so
we probably
happy.
had over 20 dogs, and they were all definitely up there for her, and, she loved Lucy and just, would help out with me with Lucy any way she could these last 7 months I was home with her, and, Lucy, I taught her how to swim, and, she hiked with me, she's camped with me, she's done it we had to teach her how to my mom and I taught her how to play with toys. We had to open her mouth, put a toy
Oh,
in,
because she never knew
pull
how
it, she didn't
to.
know how to,
Oh.
and it was just, Lucy was just such a special, special dog with my mom, and I'm glad they had that bond, and they'll
Mhm.
be together again one day, but,
Yeah, that's
yes.
great, especially that you have those memories of your mom and Lucy together
Mhm.
because you have Lucy with you everywhere you
Yes.
go. It's like having a piece of your mom still with
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, she's definitely following us everywhere.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. Are you nervous about the transition going back to Colorado, or are you excited for it because you know that that's Lucy's happy
Yeah,
place?
I'm excited, one, for the weather. I love Colorado summers are great, and where my place is out in the mountains, I think today it was like 65 degrees, and it was so
Wow.
nice. Um,
Meanwhile, it's 95 and 90%
yeah.
humidity here.
So I'm excited more right now, like we've said before in other podcasts, that there are too many dogs that get overheated here and
Mhm.
everything. So it's very hard for me to do anything outside with Lucy long term because she is older, because it's so hot. So being back in Colorado, there's a lake near my house. She loves to swim or just wade in it. Um, and no big hiking, obviously, not now, but just do some camping and be outdoors. And I swear by this mountain air, something keeps her going. It's kept her going, kept her youthful in all these years.
Yeah.
People are always shocked when I'm like, "Oh, she's 15, 16," and they can't believe that she's that old. I'm like,
It's the mountain air
it's
effect
the
and the
mountain
sea
air.
breeze and the mountain air.
Yeah, so she's had a great time here, and I'm so glad she's been able to see everyone at the vet and, all the friends here, and then going back there and kinda just, living out the rest of her life out in that mountain air is gonna be good for her.
That's great,
Yeah.
that's great. That's gonna be so awesome for her.
Mhm.
Aw. Well, Brittany, thank you so much for coming
Thank you for
on.
having me.
It's been an honor to have you on to share your
Yes.
mom's story, to share you and Lucy's story.
Mhm.
Your whole family is such a great group of dog lovers,
Mhm.
and you guys have helped so many dogs over the
Yeah.
years. Your mom with all her rescuing, you and all your time in the vet field,
Mhm.
you with Lucy, and it's people like you that we thank because
Yeah.
you guys are superheroes.
Yes. Yeah, you always rescue them. You gotta take them in all the time. They
Always.
need homes.
They deserve the best.
They do.
They really do. Well, that is all for today's episode. Please be sure to follow the show on Spotify and YouTube, and follow Tell Me About Your Dog podcast on Instagram, where I'd love to hear your dog's stories and any topics you'd like to hear more about. I'll see you next time.